changes the company can make that will be the most impactful and meaningful to the greatest number of customers. And then finally, for me in this role, one of the things that I enjoy the most is operations colleagues that have always been customer focused. Whenever we bring to them an initiative that might make the customer's experience better, they're always willing to give it a try. And that's what's helped us make some of the changes we needed to make. Now, in regard to our new smart meters, customer education was at the top of our list. And in conjunction with the Commission, we have initiated a number of programs which they review periodically and help us to refine. You've heard talk about the Mobile Experience Center. I think almost each one of us has told you that when this session is over and you head out the doors at the rear of this room, if you'll go to the right on Harwood Street, you'll find the Mobile Experience Center. On the path to that Mobile Experience Center, you'll also see a display of the home area network devices that we're currently using on the Encore system. Christine was the first one to mention the Smart Meter Texas portal, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail. So in regard to customer education, we really believe that it's extraordinarily important that customers understand the meter that they're about to receive, so they do get notification in advance of the meter installation. They're told about when to expect it. And that in many ways they're going to have additional information they can use immediately to make choices inside their premise that will help them manage how much energy they're using. But we also want them to know that this is kind of a starting point and the backbone for some of the rest of the smart grid, some of the things that Jim talked about with you, and that retailers are anxious for full deployment so that they can begin to offer other innovative services that can only be enabled once the smart meter is there. So along with the Commission, we designed a very comprehensive plan to communicate with multiple touch points with customers for information before deployment, during deployment, and making ourselves available to be sure their questions were answered after deployment. And we think that in many cases those have been very successful. When you get outside to see the Mobile Experience Center, this is what you'll see. The interior is like the inside of a home. There are a number of interactive kiosks where customers can test their own knowledge about how much energy is used by various appliances. There are also home area network devices so they can really watch how much is used. We have a commitment to be in a community in advance of the smart meter deployment with the Mobile Experience Center. Customers are invited to come in and see how various things are going to work. We're there during deployment and also after deployment. You can see the number of events that we've held so far this year and how many visitors have come. We try to go to places where customers are going to be anyway. In Texas, you'll hear us refer to large home stores as big box stores like Home Depot and Walmart. They will let us park in their parking lot so that customers on their way to shop can also visit the Mobile Experience Center. Sometimes that will lead them to want to buy additional products once they leave. Another part of the Mobile Experience Center is a kiosk with a message from our Public Utility Commission chairman that talks about the importance of the grid and what we're doing, and also encourages customers to visit the PUC website so that they can get additional information. We are really making great use of social media. And you heard Dan in his presentation talking about what will be our new contact center employees, and how some employees in the contact center have already been asked to focus on these other methods of communicating. We have in our call center and also in our communications department employees who have additional training on the smart grid, who follow Facebook, and Twitter, and make sure that any customer questions that we get in that way are answered. We still have a large number of customers in our service territory that prefer face-to-face communications. They can have that at our Ask Encore exhibits and any other way that they encounter employees. When we survey, we find that those customers that have the highest satisfaction with the company are those that have encountered an employee. And frequently, that's one of our field personnel, perhaps a lineman or a field service representative. So educating employees is equally as important as educating your customers. Right now, we have close to 4,000 customers that prefer their communication through one of the social media tools. Christine talked about the Smart Meter Texas portal, and so did Jim, that it was a collaboration of the transmission and distribution utilities in Texas. It gives customers a chance to see their usage in 15-minute increments and therefore make decisions about how they would like to use energy in their premises. This past winter, when we had lots of questions about consumption, it was possible for our call center representatives to be on the telephone with a customer who was logged into the portal. And the customer might say, I really just don't believe we use that much energy. And the representative might draw their attention to a spike in their energy use. We had customers say, oh my gosh, that's 7:30. That's when everybody gets up and starts to get ready for the day. And then they saw that usage trail off, and maybe it spiked again at 3. And the customer would say, well, that's when the children come home. And then maybe again at 6:30 as dinner was being prepared. So the portal gives customers a deeper understanding of the usage pattern at their own premise and helps them answer questions. We even had some moms tell us that there were activities at home in the afternoon that were not allowed, that they could see by accessing the Smart Meter Texas portal. Generally, after a customer receives their new meter, in about 30 to 45 days, they can go to the portal and register, and then they'll be able to see their usage. And later, when there are more home area network devices widely used outside of a pilot that we have done at Encore, then they'll be able to provision their devices. Now, we agreed and got permission for 2 in-home monitors to be used in a test of 500 that were piloted in our service territory. And we used eco-meter monitors by Landis & Gear and Insight monitors from Tendril. We had 350 from Landis & Gear and 150 from Tendril. And Jim reported on those to our commission in April of this year. And we're looking forward to doing a similar pilot with the low income. And what we found from our survey was that most of the customers made changes in their behavior based on information that they learned from looking at their usage, having it both real time and being able to go to the portal and see how they had been using it over time. Now, there's been a little bit of discussion about challenges you can have with customers, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of a big challenge that we had in the winter of 2010. One of the coldest winters that we can remember having in this part of North Texas. So as customers began to receive their bills from their retailers, in various parts of our service territory where premises were principally total electric, some customers were very surprised at the size of the bill and began to question the consumption. As they thought about what happened, what came to mind for them first was, I have this new meter. My bill has never been this high, and I have this new meter. We worked very hard with customers to try to help them understand their consumption. We ran a number of studies. We did some side-by-side meter demonstrations so they could see consumption from an electromechanical meter and consumption from their new meter. Our commission undertook a study of meters across the state using a third-party provider, and they tested all of the meters. They tested some in the field, they tested them as they came from the manufacturer, they tested them at a testing facility. And they made the test and the results very public and helped put to rest the view that smart meters were not accurate. They are as accurate as electromechanical meters, and in some cases much more accurate. We learned quite a bit through our deployment process, and these are things that you would typically know anyway, but I think having a real-life experience to help cement these facts is very helpful. From the very beginning, we had the buy-in of our executives. And as I have traveled across the United States attending conferences like this, and even in a couple of other countries, I have come to learn that other people would love to have our commission, Christine. And so we are grateful for the support that we have also gotten from our commission. It's important to realize that all of your processes will be impacted. It's not a new undertaking that only affects one area or another. Our communications team, obviously putting our comprehensive plan together, our meter reading team, both in changing out meters and then what becomes of a former meter reader when you fully deployed. Field service personnel in their operations duties as well as their customer contacts, billing, contact center, social media, every process that you have in place already is going to be different. And that really gives rise to the need to have close contact with your customers. The whole idea of educating, engaging customers, getting feedback, and doing all of that through the communications channel that the customer prefers. Just can't emphasize enough, communicate with customers, communicate again with customers, and demonstrate that their communications are making a difference in your approach. We learned that social media may be even more powerful than you believe it to be today, as much as you know about social media. So our contact center has a special team set aside for questions regarding AMS and also watching all of the feeds that we get from other places. And then we have a communications team set aside for that as well. A whole team of subject matter experts who are answering questions continuously through our Ask Encore website. You really do have to pay a lot of attention to your basic processes. For as much as you plan, there's going to be a little bit of a surprise in there somewhere, and you need to be prepared to react to that quickly. And you just have to keep monitoring those and communicating also with your commission if there's something that you learn that was unexpected. So I look forward to the question and answer part of our program. Let me bring Jim back up.
Thank you very much, Brenda. So what does the future hold? And many of you have